Good morning, everyone. My name is Steve Tanner, and I'm here today to talk to you about becoming more environmentally friendly. What happens to the garbage you throw out of your house? Do you wonder about that? I know I do. Actually, I don't. It just goes, and that's all you have to worry about. That's the problem with us today. It's a lack of concern. And ignorance is the root of our problems today. Therefore, the general public armed with a bit of information can make a big change in the environment. For instance, did you buy coffee this morning at the cafeteria? What was it in, a styrofoam cup? What happens to that cup when you throw it out? Nothing for about 500 years. When you go to the grocery store and buy a head of lettuce, it's wrapped in plastic. Is that necessary? What happens to that plastic when you throw it out? Nothing for 500 years. Chemical residue. You wash your dishes, the soap goes down the drain, you forget about it. Where does that go? Into our lakes, rivers. What does it do? Kills fish, plant life. And what happens to it? Nothing. It stays there. Excuse me. CFCs from driving your car or using spray cans, where do they go after you use them? Into the atmosphere. What do? They destroy the ozone layer. And what happens to them? Nothing. I don't want to make you feel guilty by saying all of this, because until recently I was the same way. I was unconcerned because I was ignorant. To get informed, there are plenty of places you can call or go to get information to improve your habits, and in doing so, preserve the environment. Pollution Probe, for instance, has an information line. Greenpeace is fairly active in the environmental movement. I'm just going back and forth. And your municipal recycle program has scads of information to help you do your part. What can you do right now? Bring a coffee mug from home, for starters. Don't buy goods that are overpackaged. And if there are alternatives, and if you think a product is overpackaged, let the producer know about it. Buy products that have reusable or recyclable containers. That way you can buy something that is packaged and not feel guilty about just throwing it away. There are alternatives to household chemicals. Baking soda, for instance, can be used as a cleanser, as an air freshener, any number of things. And carpools or public transit, a viable alternative. Stopping the destruction of our planet is not difficult. But if you think making a few minor lifestyle changes is difficult, consider this. Is there another planet? Thank you very much.
You're fine for another 8 weeks, though.
That's what I'm going to do first. Oh, were you timing it all? Alright. Here it goes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Steve Tanner, and I'd like to share with you my thoughts about tomogamy. You're sitting there saying to yourself, where the hell is tomogamy? And why is this guy talking about it? Well, for those of you unfamiliar with Ontario's geography, Tomogamy is a small town located about 100 kilometers north of North Bay on Highway 17. Until recently, it was nothing more than a small logging village that was attacked in the summer by a trickle of tourists. It's surrounded by a majestic white pine forest and rugged terrain. It is these white pine forests that have been the center of debate between two groups in Ontario. On one side, there's the Ministry of Natural Resources and Ontario logging companies. On the other side, we have naturalists and native groups. I have totally forgotten everything.
Maybe I. Have you been there?
Yeah.
Tell me the
I drove through Temagami last summer, and you don't see much of it just driving past. A lot of the village is nestled deep within the forest. The natives have been living in this area for close to 7,000 years. That sounds like quite a long time. They've lived in harmony with the forest, and they seem insulted that these logging companies want to move into their area and totally destroy it. The logging companies and the ministry say that with proper reforestation, this area can be clear-cut and replenished to be a viable forest in the future. What they're not telling Ontarians is that they will be replacing this mixed forest with a single hybrid species of trees that will be good for absolutely nothing but forestry. The Indians are coming to the defense of the forest, saying that they have lived in this area for over 7 centuries and have used the land and gotten their entire livelihoods from it. With this monoculture forest that will be replacing the white pines, so will go the varied and unique forms of wildlife that inhabited Temagami, never to return. Oh, jeez. I rehearsed it too much, and I just looking for buzzwords that set me off.
Okay, just talk. Forget what you rehearsed. Just tell me what you think.
Okay.
Think about it. Relax and just talk about it.
Recently, the United Nations tabled a proposal that suggested certain areas within its member countries be designated as World Nature Preserves. The Temagami Old Growth Forest was one of these regions. Coincidentally, I'm telling you all this on the third day of what is National Forest Week. Their slogan is, "A living forest is a giving forest." Now, don't you think that we should allow this, if we cut this forest down to use it just once, or let it stand so we can use it for another 7,000 years? Thank you very much.
Got through it.
Burn the tape. Burn the tape.
Not until next week.
Oh.